That's right. Back at it again. Full Custom Hot Dog here doing another movie review. That's right. We're going to be talking about 2021's Willy's Wonderland, a film I've been highly anticipating ever since I had heard that Nick Cage was going to be doing a movie where he fights killer animatronics. If you haven't seen the trailer, you can watch it on this channel. I do a little bit of a reaction. I break down the trailer into what makes it interesting, what Easter egg. I just tear this trailer apart and I sift through all the little details. It's just what I do. So anyways, Willy's Wonderland, directed by Kevin Lewis, somebody I'm not entirely familiar with, but apparently Kevin Lewis hasn't directed a film since 2007. A film called The Method. I hadn't heard of it. I'd be curious to know how it all came together for him to work on a movie like this with Nicolas Cage. I actually thought this was pretty good overall, a little surprising, but let's talk about the movie before I give some impressions here. So, what is it about? Well, IMDb says, a quiet drifter is tricked into a janitorial job at the now condemned Willy's Wonderland. Willy's. The mundane tasks suddenly become an all-out fight for survival against wave after wave of demonic animatronics. Fists fly, kicks land, titans clash, and only one side will make it out alive. And that's pretty on point. Basically, Nick Cage is playing a cool guy and is driving his cool car. And his tires get popped, and he gets a ride to the garage where they say, hey, we could fix it for you, but you don't have any cash. So he basically ends up working at Willy's Wonderland overnight. He's locked in. And he's told he cleans the whole place and the car will be paid for in the morning. So he gets locked in, he starts cleaning, and the animatronics come to life. I guess I'll give a little detail there. And if you don't want to hear this, you can either stop this and watch it, or, I don't know, come back later. But basically there was a bunch of killings when this place was open, because now it's pretty much condemned. And while it was open, there were killings and things from the employees. And when the cops finally raided it, because they're like, holy shit, there's a lot of missing people, they found the employees and the owner dead in a satanic pact. And they put themselves into these animatronics, much like Charles Lee Ray did into Chucky, the infamous series Child's Play. So, Nicolas Cage is in there. He's meant to be a sacrifice, to be feeding, or to be food for these animatronics. And a group of teens go in there to burn the place down, but one compassionate young woman decides, hey, we got to try to get him out before we burn this place down. So that's our adventure. And the first third is a bit of a setup, so it's pretty okay. But really, once it gets going, it gets going. And I really enjoyed this movie. Nick Cage is brutal. He's killing the shit out of these things, and it's fun the whole way. One thing that's worth mentioning, if you haven't heard, is that Nick Cage's character doesn't really say anything. He's near quiet. I think he makes some utterances, and you can make out a word here or there, but for the most part, he's practically saying nothing. Is near silent. And in video games, it's called a silent protagonist. If you're not familiar, that's your character. Your lead character doesn't say anything because he's supposed to be you, and you can't talk because you're on the outside of the video game. At its base level, you can see how this would have been just a basic slasher movie, right? You've got a haunted, satanic Chuck E. Cheese with killer animatronics, and we're going to throw 5 teens in there, and maybe one of them will live, but the rest are going to die. And this movie does that, and then you've got this Cage character, and the way Cage plays his character is he's cool the whole way through. I said in the beginning, cool guy, cool car. He is utterly merciless on these things. He just beats the shit out of all these things. Doesn't seem to faze him one bit. And that's kind of like the video game logic thing I was talking about earlier, where it just feels like that this could have been a video game at some point, because your character never cares. And Nick Cage doesn't care, much like a video game character might not. And he just goes and beats ass and does some of the most brutal executions on some of these things, which makes it so much fun. So you've got Nicolas Cage as the lead, who's just absolutely crushing it. And again, he's grouped with a few youths that happen to get in there and meet untimely demises, of course. And you've got the animatronics themselves of Willy's Wonderland. You've got Willy, he's a weasel, and then Siren Sarah, who's basically like a Tinkerbell character. Cammy the chameleon, a chameleon. Tito the turtle, he's a Mexican turtle. He's a turtle wearing a sombrero, and he's got a fun mustache. Artie the alligator, who's an alligator. Nighty Night, who's like a night guy. Gus the gorilla, and Ozzy the ostrich. And when you see these characters on screen, they do sort of take on... They do act as you would expect, which I like. Like, Tito the Turtle is cussing in Spanish, which is pretty fun. They're all sort of in character, which is pretty interesting. So yeah, pretty fun movie. I would give this a recommend. However, on VOD it's $20 because I think this was supposed to be in the theaters initially, which probably would have been a ton of fun, by the way. So I recommend watching this with a few other people to get a bang for your buck. I watched this with my family. Everybody had a good time, especially me. I was enjoying it. But I did, however, pre-order the Blu-ray immediately. Now, I pre-ordered it at about $22, I think. If there's a bunch of extras, I'm okay with paying $20 or so for it. If there's not, and it doesn't drop down to like 10 or 15, I will probably undo my pre-order. Because it's a solid flick. I didn't love it though, but it was fun. And I would like to watch it again. I might watch it again since I've got it rented for a couple days. However, paying $20 for it isn't really what I'm feeling. But this with extras would be cool. I would like to see some of the behind the scenes. The way the suits look, because they're supposed to be animatronics, I do like the way a lot of these suits look. My biggest problem with the Banana Splits movie, which I didn't see, I would watch at some point, but it's never streaming for free or anything anywhere. But I hate the way the suits fit. They all look too loose-fitting. They look very much like people in suits instead of robots. If I'm wrong, I believe they're supposed to be robots. If they're not robots and they're escaped convicts, then I'll check it out. But everything I heard is that they are robots. And to me, those suits need to be tighter because it's supposed to fit around in a skeleton, right? Like a robot skeleton, like a Terminator or something. And it's a slight detail, but it's something that really irks me because you're supposed to sell me on your ideas. You're supposed to, you're supposed to take me to this other world where animatronics are killing people. A suspension of disbelief here. And that's something that's going to yank me right out of it. I don't ask for much. You can tell by the things that I watch that I really don't expect much. But I think in a movie where you have these killer animatronics, the suit should look tighter. And it should look more complete, like a suit without obviously being a suit or a suit that you might have bought at a thrift store. And that's my problem with looking at the Banana Splits. Don't really care to watch it, but I'll probably watch it at some point. That little detail just kills me. But anyways, I like Willy's Wonderland. I recommend it. I think you should check it out. You're not going to get the deepest film, but it's fun. And the way Nick Cage plays his character that doesn't talk is very surprising. This man is diligently cleaning this place so he can get his car repaired. And it's definitely a blast, the whole ride. Surprising. I didn't know what to expect, but I am pleased. Thank you, everyone. I'm your host, Full Custom Hot Dog. You can follow me on Twitter. It's Full Custom Hot Dog without the last, because that is just too long for Twitter. So, thank you all for watching, and until next time. If you like what you see,
I love what I see.
Make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you can watch whatever comes next. And if you like the music you hear, you can follow me on SoundCloud and Spotify. Check the description for links.